hot or not, Microsoft recently added a Copilot key, or I would say their OEMs, their partners,
Yes.
added a Copilot key. Essentially, you touch it and it invokes surprising Copilot.
Copilot.
First keyboard key they've added in, I think, 10 years. But what are your thoughts on it?
So I think, in general, we're seeing like the AI is just going to be infused from the system to the silicon to the hardware, right? And we're seeing it just across the board. I think this is inevitable, or some shortcut, whether it's a programmable shortcut, whether it's, Command C, whatever, but that's already copy for some people, I guess, depending on what you use. I think it's inevitable as people really become reliant on copilots, whether however many people are going to just, ditch their current keyboard and buy a new one because they want a Copilot key. We'll see how long that takes, but I definitely think a Copilot key at some point is just going to be, it's inevitable. It's kind of like the volume key. It's like, how do you live without it once you have it?
Yeah, it's interesting. I know you're a Mac user. I know it. No, I'm just kidding. No, we all get used to what we get used to. I use the Windows key and have been since it came on, I think 20 years ago. And yeah, I mean stuff, I look at even my Logitech keyboard that I have right now. I use a ton of the mute, volume up, volume down, and the Windows key. A lot of the other stuff, the function keys and stuff like that, like I could save, but no thank you. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Settings button, don't use. And by the way, this is going to be a great non-committal analyst point of view on that, is that users will use it, will be directly related to the utility it provides. And here's the other thing is they're unforgiving. They hit it and they get bored, or they don't like it, they're going to tune out.
Yeah.
I think you also add keys and things like that to surface it and show you're serious. Like, this is how serious Microsoft is. I mean, you can't just remove the keyboard key after a year. There's a full supply chain, which, by the way, is why not every vendor has it. Is that this needs to make its way through the supply chain, and it didn't. The OEMs didn't necessarily have time to do this. Is why you won't see it on every system. But net, I like it. It's a physical instantiation of what's going to be Microsoft's biggest differentiator for the next couple of years. And I do think it adds value, just like the Windows key. In fact, I don't even know what the other key that I'm looking at even does. That's a Windows key. It has like 4. I don't even know what it does. I've never used it, but I do use the Windows key. So I like it, and I will use the Copilot key when it comes on my system, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be something that if you don't have a Copilot key, you will need at least a programmable key that gets you immediately to whatever Copilot that it is that you use, whether it's on Windows or something else. The more we get used to using these things, the more they're going to have to be like immediately accessible, unless they just pop up, as soon as you log in.
Sounds good. Hey, so I'm sorry, I talked over you.
Oh, I was just saying they're just going to be I think they'll become more seamlessly part of our lives. So maybe in 2 years we won't need a key. It'll just actually integrate into our lives.